but I think there's only one place to start, isn't there? And it's, you know, the situation, the club behind us, Manchester United, could be a crucial day for Erik ten Hag. Scrutiny on the manager's position has continued this week after defeat against Tottenham, 3-0 at home, only just scraping that draw in midweek against Porto away from home in the Europa League. And it has led to speculation that a decision may well be made on the manager's future if they lose this afternoon at Aston Villa, which is the first part of Super Sunday. OK, so this is what the minority owner, Jim Ratcliffe, has had to say. Didn't exactly give a ringing endorsement when asked about the manager's job this week. He said, I think he's a very good coach, but at the end of the day, it's not my call. It's the management team that's running Manchester United that have to decide how we best run the team in many different respects. It's fascinating that, because he hasn't given his, you know, like he sort of said, well, look, it's not up to me. Yeah. But we're now in a situation, Jamie, where it feels like his future probably relies on this one game. Are we in a situation here with Erik ten Hag? If he loses, if they lose, he loses his job. What do you think?
I think it's the manner of the defeat. If they get beat well today, you know, if they turn up and get rolled over by Aston Villa, I think Ten Hag's in big trouble. You know, I think Aston Villa are going to be looking for a scalp. You know, they've come off the back of a great result against Bayern Munich. They're going to be going into this one saying, right, come on, let's keep going. And Unai Emery knows how to get the best out of the team. And Ten Hag is going to come under some serious pressure. If they put in a really good performance and it doesn't quite happen, or, you know, there's a VAR decision or something happens where you go, they get a little bit hard done by, then he maybe gets another few weeks. But it's a big game for him today. If they get beat, and they get beat well, I think it could be the end for Erik ten Hag.
Is it must not lose, Jay, or is it must win?
Again, I think it's like Jamie said, I think it's the manner that you lose in if they lose. But even if they win the game, like Man United fans want to see free-flowing football. They want to see goals. You know, the days of Man United that I remember watching, I couldn't wait to turn the TV on to see Man United play. Now it's like Man United are on, I'd rather watch Brighton. You know, and that's no disrespect to Brighton, but I want to see good football. I look at Man United now, they've got no real philosophy, they've got no game plan. The players don't even look motivated. And that's a worry in itself, because they've got some fantastic players there, but they're just not putting it together. And I think that comes down to the coaching staff and ultimately Ten Hag and the amount of money he's spent as well. And they haven't got any better. And I think that's a worry for Man United.
Do you agree with that? That, you know, that he's been backed, hasn't he, in the transfer market? Yeah. Pictures there of Sir Jim Ratcliffe. You know, he's come into the club, he's gone, right, OK, so we're going to back you, you're staying here, you know, and now there hasn't been a marked improvement.
They backed him, but have they really backed him? They gave him an extension on a contract which was already there. Yeah. You know, so they've said, yeah, look, we'll back you, but
they didn't sack him.
Well, they didn't sack him. How can they sack him after winning the FA Cup? You know, you can't sack him, so they had to give him some sort of time. But I think that what they were doing was looking at it saying, I don't think there's anyone better out there at the moment that wants the job, you know, and we'll bring in Nistelrooy, you know, because he might be one that we'll look at if it's not going well. And they've kicked the can down the road. And what's happened is we're seeing the same Man United. You haven't improved. The team's not really got any better. There's still no real identity. They're 2 years into a project with Ten Hag, and it isn't really looking like you can see... I can't see a way out of this for Ten Hag. I just can't. Like, the fortunes are not going to change. Like, they might get a result today, but I guarantee you, a few weeks down the line, they'll get beat again, and they'll put in another bad performance. All they've done is just kick it down the road.
The players shoulder some of that blame. I mean, they've been brought in on big money for big transfer fees. Yes, he's the one who is trying to get the best outcomes out of them. But
what's alarming for me? Yeah, they have spent money and they've brought in some players and they haven't really produced. But when I look at the players that leave Man United, like take example Jadon Sancho, right? He was terrible for Man United. Like he looked like he'd forgotten how to play football. When everyone's digging him out and thinking he's not the player that everyone thought we'd signed, you know, spent all this money, he's gone to Chelsea, and I watch him at Chelsea. I'm like, he's a player. He's a player.
Dortmund as well.
He's a player.
Yeah,
he looks confident. Well. He looks fresh. He looks like he wants to show what he's about. So that, for me, rings alarm bells, because you've got a manager at Man United who's bringing in players and not getting the best out of them. That's a problem.
Do you think under these sort of circumstances, when you're talking about Erik ten Hag, he's the sort of character, Jay, who can talk to this dressing room and say, look, it's not just me under this, we're all under this, siege mentality, let's go? Or do you think he hasn't got that kind of rapport with the United squad?
I don't see players there motivated. I don't see players there that are happy to play underneath him. You don't see like smiles on faces. No. I don't think he gets the team selection right. They play Man United are playing counter-attack football. I think the players they've.
So we do know one thing about their philosophy.
Well,
they don't like having the ball in the first place. They'd rather not have it and counter-attack.
Yeah, but when you look at some of these other managers that go to clubs and do really well, like Arne Slot has gone into Liverpool, he's made a difference. Even though Klopp done really well, I believe that Arne Slot's come in there and brought some philosophy there, made him a bit more stable, and they're not conceding anywhere near as many goals as there was before. Then you look at teams like Brighton even, the new manager's gone in there, he's added to it, they've got more of a philosophy they've built. I look at Ten Hag, he's gone there, and people say that he got rid of, the likes of Ronaldo. I wouldn't have got rid of Ronaldo, to be honest. He still scored 20 league goals that season. So for me, he wasn't over the hill, but I think because Ronaldo was demanding, Ten Hag didn't like that. He don't like the players that kind of, he's not.
He can't manage the egos. He doesn't like.
Yeah, and that's why I just look at this team now, and there's so much problems there. I think, like Jamie said, the only thing is there's no manager out there that you would say, yeah, I definitely want him. But then there's been, Graham Potter, that's been mentioned.
He
even him
at Chelsea, though, didn't he?
He did struggle. He would have to come in and do some Harry Potter stuff.
Maybe even more than that.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, but they don't look like they're enjoying their football. That's what it looks like. When I watch like Marcus Rashford, I'm a massive fan of Marcus Rashford, and he frustrates me because I look at him and think, you have got all the attributes to be a superstar football player. Right? He's got everything. He can score. He's quick. He can finish. He can drive forward.
We've seen it, hasn't we?
He's good on the
goals.
ball. And when I watch him for Man United, and he does good things in a game, like the other night against Porto, first half does really well. But then for the rest of it, he stands, he walks around, he hasn't got a smile on his face. He got took off at half time, and I watched the game. I thought that was really harsh. He got an assist and he scored in the first half. Defensively, all right, for the goals that Porto scored, you could say he switched off. But it wasn't like it was completely his fault.
I definitely wouldn't take him off.
And that, for me, says that there's an agenda that Ten Hag's got in his head about Marcus Rashford. And I think that Marcus Rashford now is going, all right, well, if you're going to take me off at half-time after I've scored, then I ain't going to play for you. I'm going to down tools. And you can see it in a few of the players, because they're looking at going, oh, he's dragged Marcus Rashford. He's scored and got an assist, and he's took him off because he might not have tracked back. And that's fine, but instead of going, hey, Marcus, I'm going to let you off, second half, if you don't track back and you're not working
100%.
And you're not putting it in, I'm taking you off. I'm not going to take you off now because that's embarrassing you. But if you don't do it in the second half, 5 minutes, you're gone.
But then even
he doesn't give them players the opportunity, and in the end they go, Gaffer's
But Jamie, even then, he said, oh, we got a big game on the weekend. The biggest game is the one you're playing in. It's not the one that's coming. Because you don't know about that game there. The biggest game is winning that particular game at that moment. Yeah. So him saying that as well makes me feel like, tactically, what are you thinking?
OK, but let's put it this way. If United had, let's say, won that game against Porto, right? They were 2-0 up in that game.
Yeah.
And then drawn against Villa.
Yeah.
I think, actually, you'd rather the other way round, wouldn't you? Actually drawing against Porto and beating Villa and a more refreshed Marcus Rashford. Look, I'm playing devil's advocate here. If a more refreshed Marcus Rashford... remember, they played on Thursday. This game is Sunday, the early game. They're way important.
The players do this all the time now.
OK.
It's like
But
teams
what if he starts this game and scores? Then isn't that him vindicated?
No, because he should be playing that game anyway. Like Jamie said, he should have stayed on that pitch because he was a threat. He's the difference. He was playing really well. He was direct. He scored a good goal. And he would be annoyed.
Think that, like Jamie, there is something untoward about the decision made taking him off at half-time?
I think that's too cutthroat there. Like Jamie said, you could just take him... It was half-time. All he had to do was say, listen, you've been playing well, but you've got to track back as well. You've got to do your defensive duties. He didn't do that. He just took him off.
The thing is that
and he could have been the difference to score again.
If a coach makes a change at half-time, it suggests something has not worked, right? You sometimes see
if I get dragged at half-time, it's because I played bad.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Take him off at 66 minutes, no one really... You think, OK, you can play that off as rotation, trip back home tonight, maybe get home early, Friday morning, whatever.
But we still got to sit on the bench for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not like he's getting straight in the car and saying, thanks, lads, I'm off. I've done my 45, I'm going to get back and rest up. He's still got to sit there.
But, Jay, I'm interested in what Jamie said before about how Rashford might react to this, because, when things break down, they don't just break down with one person, they break down with several people. We might come on to Bruno Fernandes in a moment, but what about Rashford? Do you think that this relationship with Erik ten Hag, which has been under strain for a while, is symptomatic of the whole thing.
And let me just say, like, Rashford hasn't done himself any favours, as in when he went out, and, you know, that don't reflect well on him. But Ten Hag himself has said he's brushed that to one side, he's disciplined him, right? Which is fair enough. But when you play a football match and you're playing well, Rashford would believe he's playing well. He's got the goal, he's been direct. He was the difference in that first half as to why Man United were playing. To then get pulled off, he would be thinking, what's going on here? And then he would be talking to his teammates, as you would. I can't believe I've got taken off.
Yeah.
And then the teammates will be saying, I can't believe he's taken you off either. And then you create that bad blood within the squad. And I feel like when you look at the squad now as a whole, you can see that on their facial expressions.
Yeah. Can I just say, when I watch Ten Hag on the sidelines, in-game management, the way he is as a manager, I don't see someone that's going to get the best out of the group of players on the pitch. Marcus Rashford is lazy. Right? If you give him an inch, he'll take a yard. Right? That's what he is. Like, and there are managers on the side like Pep, like Arteta, will be on you. And there's certain players you know when they walk on the pitch. Jordan Henderson, you ain't got to say nothing to Jordan Henderson. He'll go out there, he'll graft, he'll talk, he'll tell you he'll get other players on side, and he'll demand the best out of other players. Marcus Rashford, if you stand on the sideline and don't say nothing to him, he won't. He'll go through the game, he'll coast through it, and he might do something special. But you need a manager on the side saying, Marcus, get in, Marcus, get back, Marcus, stand it. You've got to be on these players.
So they're both equally at fault for the failure of this relationship.
I watched Ten Hag, he stands on the sideline like that.
Do it saying nothing.
Like, don't say nothing. Van Nistelrooy's up having to try and get the best.
He got booked the other day. Van Nistelrooy got booked for saying stuff. I'll tell you what I look forward to the most. I look forward to his interviews after the game. Because I think, what are you talking... What game have you watched? And there's so many people... It's not just me. There's so many people that are just in disbelief about the things that he said. He said we dominated the first 20 minutes against Porto. And it's like, OK, you scored 2-0, but you didn't dominate. Because the game I was watching, you was lucky to be 2-0 up. And then the last 10 minutes, we dominated. And it's like, what about that in-between?
And what about the capitulation from 2-0 down to 2-0?
Yeah, the game's 90 minutes. And you could say that Man United still have better players than Porto. But Porto are put together better. They've got a philosophy. They're playing better football. Man,
we're going to come on to maybe frailty from United in just a moment. But we're talking about leadership here, right? And
big problem.
And you're right. Now you've got a captain in Bruno Fernandes who, had a red card that was overturned, rescinded. Means that he's available, but also got sent off in that game against Porto. What do you make of his body language?
Well, his body language is never great, is it? And he waves his arms up in the air. And I look at Man United and I think the leadership problem they've got there is that Bruno Fernandes is a brilliant football player. But for me, when I watch Bruno Fernandes, he's one of them players who plays for himself. He wants the team to do well, but he wants to be a great player. He wants to make things happen. And I look at the problem, like the example, the Porto game the other night. They're winning 2-0, right? They come under it a little bit. That's a harsh, obviously red card. He gets rescinded. But when I watch the other night when they're playing against Porto, they come under it. They're 2-0 up. You're away from home. Brilliant start to the game. I'm looking at Bruno Fernandes. I'm looking at the midfield and saying, where's the leaders on the pitch to say, boys, we're coming under it for 5 minutes. Let's get into half time. Let's get in. Marcus, get in. Diallo, get in. Bruno, come here. Get compact. No goals. Nothing comes in between us. They're all just individually out there still trying to play football, and Porto go right through them. How many goals you seen this season already? Man United go straight through the middle of you. Yeah. The third goal that Porto score, 2 passes, they're in a 6-yard box. Yeah. Van der Ven the other day, straight through the middle of them.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to get leaders on a pitch. I keep going back to Jordan Henderson because he's a perfect example of it. Get in, get tight, get together. Leaders on a football pitch.
They need to control the tempo better as well. Like,
this should never, ever happen in a football match.
That's schoolboy. That is schoolboy.
Like, fair enough, great run. But that doesn't happen
And even that at the back post. No one's tracking him at the back post. Like, what's going on there?
They're too easy to score against because they ain't willing to get together, get tight, and be leaders on a pitch and say, right, let's get compact. No one's scoring. Arsenal are the best.
And they are porous. We know that since Ten Hag has taken over, they've conceded 3 or more goals in a game 24 times.
That's crazy.
No other Premier League side more. In fact, Bournemouth level with them on 20. They're almost the outright worst. They're the joint worst. But left side of United has been a problem all season, Jay. 7 of the 8 Premier League goals they've conceded either scored from or crossed from the United left side. Are they targeting Diogo Dalot a little bit. Luke Shaw, of course, is still out.
Darlow and Rashford as well, by the way.
Yeah.
Darlow playing on the left. I mean, playing on the right, I don't mind him, to be fair, but playing on the left, he looks like he's treading water. Like he doesn't know where to go. Like he cuts inside from left back. You know, if you're cutting inside and you're in the attacking third, you want to shoot. Okay, fair enough. But you're cutting inside from left back. You're leaving spaces. You know, Rashford's not tracking back. I can't believe Garnacho's not playing, because at least there you've got a player that's honest. He's going to track back and get forward.
Yeah.
And he's a threat. But then it's like, where do you play Rashford? If you're not going to put him on the left, he clearly doesn't want to play as a striker. He doesn't want to play on the right either. And to be fair, Diallo's been playing well on the right. Even though he was at fault for tracking back again, we spoke about the defensive duties. He's done pretty well going forward, but I just think it's a major problem. And when the manager's on that side of the pitch, he should be saying, Dalot and Rashford, play together, get back, do your defensive duties. And they just it's either, if he is telling them, then he's getting ignored, which is even worse.
And then that undermines his leadership even more. We saw shots before of Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Well, all of the top brass at United are arriving at Villa Park. This is another Knight of the Realm, Sir Dave Brailsford. So, I mean, the lens could not be more fierce right now on Erik ten Hag. And you can imagine the whole end will be right up for this one as well.
You don't want to play You do not want to play Aston Villa right now when Aston Villa are in this kind of form, because, even we were talking about it off air, weren't we? Do you play Duran or Watkins? We don't know, because one thing you look at when it comes to Aston Villa, even when them players get subbed or dragged off, none of them are upset. They come.
The culture, the whole dynamic of these clubs could not be more polar.
And they're the most successful ones. You look at Man City. When do you really see players getting upset if they're getting dragged off or if they start on the bench? You don't really see it. Arsenal, you don't really see it.
No, you don't. But if they do, then actually it's got just a different tone to it, which is they're frustrated with themselves. They want to make more of a contribution. They thought they probably could, but it doesn't feel it refers to a greater malaise.
I just see terrible body language at Man United, and you don't see one player that has good body language. That's the problem.